that the Gene Simmons band shirt?
Yeah, I got it, or I bought it.
Oh, from the vault thing that you went to?
Yeah, I went with my brother who bought the vault. So I got a t-shirt, he got the albums. So yeah, pretty good deal.
It's amazing. And you got to meet Gene Simmons.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like it was kind of weird in a way that like I like he's been one of my like idols for so long.
Uh-huh.
So it was just so strange to like see him in person. And the first thing that I thought was like, man, he's not that tall.
He looks so I think it's the boots,
Yeah,
he looks
yeah.
so
Yeah.
tall, but you're tall though, right? How tall you're like are you
Uh, in centimeters, I'm
we're the
1.85.
we're the only fucking country here that still uses this stupid, let's
You
see,
use
1.85 centimeters to
you use like yeah, you
feet
have
and inches. It's
strange ways to
ridiculous.
measure things in US.
So you're about 6 foot tall, is
I'm
what?
about 10 chickens tall.
10 chicken.
Yeah,
That's crazy. I can't
that's
even
an
believe that.
American measurement, I think.
It's so dumb because like we use, they still use, they use, inches and feet,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
just like, I don't know.
Whose feet are they using?
Well, that's the thing is that like, so a foot is supposed to be, I think it's like a foot is like 6 inches.
Yeah.
But like at some point, if you're talking to someone who, is not from here, and you tell them a foot, they think like, well, like my foot or like your foot, like how do you measure that,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
well, dude, so before we get started, man, how's everything going, dude? The album fucking sounds
It's
incredible.
wait a minute. This isn't the podcast. This should definitely be the podcast. This is
Well, this is pretty much how it's gonna go anyway, because now,
yeah, yeah,
I have to, I'll like cut this and then like move it in, into this
yeah.
area so that I can.
You don't need to edit. Just post it.
Well, dude, we'll just jump into it though. So,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
finally, finally, I have the legendary Jacob Hellenrud. Did I say your name right? Hellenrud?
I'm not sure.
How do you say it? Like, how would you say
In
your last
Sweden,
name?
you say it Jacob Hellenrud. That's how you say it in Swedish.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna
But
say that stuff.
in America, you probably say like Jacob Hellenrud.
Let's say Jacob Hellenrud. So,
Oh,
well, we'll just say Jacob. So I finally got to have my buddy Jacob from Children of the Sun on my podcast. So, dude, welcome aboard, man. We've been trying to do this for like years now.
yeah, and also like talking English is probably one of my least favorite things to do. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
The new album, let's just jump right into the new album first off.
Heard the song, this is our time. We are on our way. Oh, agony is what we hide. We'll travel far for purest hearts. Sorrow stays in soul. Leave troubles become gold. Feel somebody's blossom bright, leaving ground straight ahead. Sing a
Obviously, it's no lie. I love it. It's absolutely amazing. But from every album you've done, like you've grown so much, but like never really repeated the
Oh,
same
thank you.
style twice, right? I mean, like, so like to begin, with the EP and then with Flowers, it was kind of like a, you know, flower power hippie kind of thing, which again resonated with me because I love that music, you know.
Yeah.
And then Roots came out, which was a much darker sound to it, you know. So you kind of shed the kind of hippie thing, and it got a little more dark. And then on this one, it's like kind of almost like a classic rock banger, you know, like it's like banger after banger on this album, man.
Yeah, and we've got so many like really nice like quotes that we're using from fans. Like one guy on Bandcamp told us that if this record would have been released 50 years ago, like it would be a classic already. So, and that was like the biggest thing to hear for me, I think. And also with the like classic rock magazine doing an interview and reviewing the album. And in here in Sweden we have Sweden Rock Magazine, which is our biggest magazine here in Sweden. I
Hmm.
did a fantastic review of the album, and so I feel like we always struggle with like reaching out to the audience with the music, because but in the same time we get these like amazing reviews by so many nice people like you and all of the other both fan science magazines and the big ones like Classic Rock. So we're so grateful for this album, because I really think that this is like the album, our best album, as
Hmm.
everybody says about their new album. But for me, it's been like a really long process with recording the album, with start of our own record label, and doing everything by ourselves. So it's been like a really, really long journey, and I'm so tired right now. And probably like this is the period where I should do the most things. I've done so many things in the past and for this album, and now when it's out, uh, I'm so stressed out by the thought that it's out now. What can I do? It feels like it's no longer in my hands in a way. But I know like we're trying to do TikTok, do Instagram, Facebook, Bandcamp, send emails. It's so many things that you can do, and for me, like I really love it. It's hard to like make money
Hmm.
creating music. It's hard to like. I think like every band probably struggles with trying to make a living of it and trying to get to the next step, like playing the bigger venues, getting people to actually listen to you. And like I will always think that this album, never mind like depending, never, or what do you say, like it doesn't matter which album it is, because it will always be my favorite album that we
Hmm.
release.
Right.
Like I wouldn't release an album that I didn't like, and I'm just like really grateful for people reaching out like from all over the world this time. And it feels like for every album that we do, like you spoke about like how Flowers is more of a flower power album,
Hmm.
and I agree. It's because when we did it, it was more about trying to find a sound that we'd really like to, and I think that we just tried to be one of those bands in a way,
Hmm.
because I never talk about the EP. I know you like it, but we never talk about it. We never play it.
I'm telling you, if I ever come to Sweden, dude, you've got to play Children of the Sun Part 2. That's my song, man.
Yeah, I think I was probably like 17 when we did the EP, so or 18 maybe. We were really small,
It's
but
so good though.
thank you, man. And and when we did the EP, it was really fun because I just saw Vanilla Fudge on Sweden Rock Festival,
Okay.
one of my favorite bands from that era of music, late 60s, early
Mhm.
70s. And they're still going on playing. They only do cover songs of famous songs in a like a 60s psychedelic rock thing. And so they were like a huge inspiration for me personally when we did the EP. And you know, a lot of stuff has happened since then. Like have a new or a new drummer. He's been in the band for like 5, 6 years or something. And you know, Vilma, who first when she started in the band, she only or not only, but she sang choir. And eventually, when Anna, who played the keys from the beginning, when she uh, stopped playing in the band, Vilma took a step and did both choir and keys. And I think that was like it made a huge impact on the Roots album as well. We talk a lot of like how the sounds of our band, you know, how every member has their own like thing they do. Like I think that Ida is just so groovy. She has this really muffy bass sound. I really like love playing with all of them. And you know, like Vilma, who plays these really lovely melodies on her, mostly like the mellotron and also the keys, you know, the piano sounds. And she's also like really good at making arrangements. So a lot of like the choir arrangements on both Roots and on this Leaving Ground with the End is made by her, together with Josefina and me. And I think because we get a lot of attention for, you know, you just feel like she's the best. She's amazing. Like I still, when she sings, I get goosebumps, and sometimes I like tear up, and and then I know, like I understand, like, oh, I'm being a part of something now, because her tone and her vocals is just amazing, and she's one of my best friends as well. So it's really fun to have this together. So like I'm super grateful for all of the members, like Johan, who plays amazing drums, and Ottilia, who's not only like a great choir singer, but also like, you know, really, what do you call it? Great with like everything around the music, you know.
You know, one of the things that I loved though was that like from the first album, well, first off, I mean, how good you guys were, like right out of the gates. Like, and I'm being totally serious. Like, I mean, because like I discovered you guys before I even knew you, you know. So I don't like your band because you're my friend. You know what I mean? Like, actually, to be honest, I would be like, man, I don't know about this new album, Jacob. Like, what happened, man? You know, but when I first heard you guys, like, my first thought was like how young you guys were. But then I was like most people, it takes two or three bands to get to a band that's that good, you know? And so it's like where you guys are at right now in your career, like not only have you been doing this for a while, but
7 years.
yeah, most bands take you know, like it took me like my first band was nowhere near this good. My first band was horrible, you know, and actually my second band was terrible too. But like it probably took me four bands to get to a point where I was like, okay, this is pretty good. I'm happy with this, you know. But like,
Yeah.
you know, you guys come right out of the gates that good, you know. Like, so like, what was your past like? I mean, did you have other bands like separately? And like, how did Children of the Sun become
Well,
a
like
thing?
I had I had some bands before, like my first band. I don't know how old I was, probably like 13 maybe. You started like I'm not sure, like seventh grade or sixth grade, maybe. But you know, for me growing up, having an older brother who played the bass, and yeah, like everything connects to it. I think I have a family that not so many musicians. It's yeah, it's only my brother who also plays music. My dad played a trumpet or something when he was in junior high school, but it I don't think that counts. But so, it's something with like he showed me a lot of things. My brother, he showed me, you know, Kiss and Alice Cooper and all of the other bands that I still like really love. Some of my favorite bands are still the same, going down to when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And probably like the album Psycho Circus with Kiss, that is not so acclaimed by the audience or the critics, but for me, that's one of my absolute favorite albums because that was the album that I kind of grew up with.
Yeah.
And I guess like I had a band with my brother and his best friend, who later became one of my best friends as well, who
Mhm.
now plays in Bullet. They are like true like AC/DC rock, but
Yeah.
also accept, and I really love them. And you know, he was a huge inspiration for me playing, and he's also like doing some small guest parts on the new album as well. And yeah, he's like a crazy good guitarist. And together with him and my brother, we had a band called Albatross,
Mhm.
named after, you know, before Kiss was named Kiss, they had a
Uh-huh.
band called Albatross, and or they thought about having the name Albatross. I'm not
Hmm.
sure. So we like played for a lot of years, doing, you know, playing DAD covers, playing Motorhead. We did some Kiss nights on the local pub,
Hmm.
and I think, and it's so fun looking back on those photos now because I can see that I'm clearly like not 18 years old on the footage, but
Hmm.
at the time I was like, no, I can fake to be, I can fake it. I can be 18 years old, but I'm 14 at the like first 20 shows we did together. I'm not sure how the, you know, the pub owners, how they did they bought it or did they just like don't care about it, but I'm really grateful for it because I really learned a lot like really quick doing that.
So how did you get connected with the other members of the band? Because I know you co-write mostly everything. It's like you and Josephina are the main songwriters in the band. Um, like how did
Yeah,
you guys connect and decide that this was the kind of music? Because you were playing like almost like industrial metal at one point.
yeah,
You're young.
yeah.
Like so how did you go from playing like industrial metal to like this incredibly like just I don't know, this beautiful flowing kind of rock?
I think that it's probably started out with you know, my family has always been on Sweden Rock Festival together.
Hmm.
Both my mom, dad, and brother goes to the festival, and with the years we've like seen so many bands and discovered so much music. And one year I discovered Abrames Brama, who is a Swedish band
Hmm.
who plays like rock and roll. Like, have you heard November, a Swedish band? They sing
Mm-mm.
in Swedish as well. They're really good. Abrames Brama was like a peak for me. And before that, I listened to a lot of, you know, Rob Zombie, Ministry, Marilyn Manson, all
Hmm.
of those like industrial metal bands.
Right, right.
And it was just something about their performance. Abrams Frama, you know, the singer, he had like a really Ozzy Osbourne vibe going around, you know,
Hmm.
clapping his hands, or you know, he had one hook and one hand. So yeah, yeah, he was really cool as well. And like it doesn't matter for the music, but you know, having this hook, he looked like really cool in a white costume without a shirt under, so you could see his belly. He was
Uh-huh.
like rock incarnated in him, inside him,
Yeah.
and it, I just like it just snapped for me, and I switched completely. I started to dress, you know, in a different way. Before I had like a side cut, you know, and makeup sometimes, and
Uh-huh.
you know, and then I just let my hair grow out longer and started to wear these like 70s rock you know clothes,
Yeah.
and in a way still do. And so it was something about Abrams Brahma who just like blew my mind that day. So yeah, it's probably for me that's where it all started. And first I started formed the band Nephila, who also
Who
is
is
doing.
also an incredible band. Yeah.
Thanks, man. And we're also releasing a new album as well. So that's on its way as well. And then Ida and Josefina, they went to the same class, and all of the others, we went to the same. we had like a soul project with the school, and then Josephina started to, like ask around if to form a band playing more of a, like a soul pop thing, I think. And yeah, that's probably where it all started for me in the band. So from the beginning, it was Ida and Josefina's band, but as fast as quick as I joined the band, I brought with me my old drummer in Nephila, who also played in Children of the Sun from the beginning, Christopher, who is also an amazing drummer. And we formed Children of the Sun and played like, some Aretha Franklin cover songs, some disco songs. And eventually we started to make the EP. And I think part two was the first song we ever wrote together.
That's awesome. That's like one of my favorite. That's in my top five Children of the Sun songs, man.
Oh, wow.
I love that song. It's so crazy. Like it's so over the top. I just love it, man, you know? But I mean, so that's really cool to know because everybody was coming from like different influences and different places, like as far as what they were doing, like performing and whatnot. So what kind of led to the changeover from the kind of hippie thing going into Roots? Because like I said, Roots was, like on the first album, you had like these incredible songs like, Hardworking Man and the title track and you know, her game, and then all of a sudden you go into Roots and you've got like Blood Boils Hot, and then the title track and Man in the Moon. You know what I mean? So it's significantly darker, which I loved, but like that was a big jump. Like what brought that? Like what made that happen?
I think maybe like one thing was we wanted to do something else because Flowers, I really like Flowers, and but I think we were young and we didn't have like a musical ID. Um, so we tried to get our own thing with Roots later, and I think some parts are still like really good on the Roots album, and some parts are really good at the Flowers album. And I think that we tried just like to find our own way into it. But with the Roots album, for me, I feel like we tried to be something again,
Hmm.
coming out from an album, trying to sound like something else. So in a way, we've always been stuck in this loop and trying to get out of this thing where people just assume that we're like a 70s psychedelic rock band. So Roots, in a way, we tried to not be that. We tried to be
Mm.
like darker, a lot of band from the label that we were on when we did the
Hmm.
album were like we were the softest band on the record label. So we tried to
Yeah.
maybe be more like the other bands in a way. And I think also, with the COVID-19 happening and stuff, I think that it really like had an impact on the album as well. It was hard to write about the fun stuff being in a dark period of time.
That's so interesting you brought that up because I actually do remember when that happened because you that was when you and I were talking a lot was during when we
Yeah,
first
yeah.
started talking really was during COVID and you had put out Roots and like the idea of playing shows was kind of grim. Like you didn't know what you're and but you guys did this incredible show on like a dock with like the
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
on the on a like a river or lake and the boats were riding by and I was just like what a perfect like setting to come back, but you ended up eventually getting to play a lot of shows with the Roots material.
Yeah, it was really hard, trying to, and we hadn't like toured on the Flowers album as well, because we released in like 2018 or something. So it was really hard because we really needed to like tour on the Flowers album, but we had a lot of music that we wanted to release, and the years just passed by, and we had a lot of material for the Roots album, and we just wanted to release music. And for me, it's always been like the most important thing to to be able to release music. And that's the apart from playing live for people, creating music is so like calming and so therapeutic. Do you call it therapeutic, or what do you call it?
Or therapeutic. Therapeutic.
Yeah, yeah,
I was just telling Ricky Warwick this yesterday as we were talking about that, and we were talking about how, like, as musicians, like, we can be really aware of things that are going on in the world, like social conscious, and political and personal things, and but somewhere along the line, you don't want to just completely ignore it, but you also don't want to write all about that. So you have to find this way of putting those songs together that kind of
yeah.
can do a little bit of both.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that like my computer has seen so many stuff over the years, both good and bad songs,
Mhm.
and a lot of lyrics that never like some of the songs that I record by myself are songs that I like record and never listen to because it was just a feeling that I had, or
Hmm.
maybe if I was sad about something, I just recorded something and let all of the emotions out and try to be authentic. And someday maybe I should release some of it just for fun of it, but mostly it's like uh, uh, something like a diary.
Yeah. I mean,
So
but that's a great way to describe it. You were just talking about how it's kind of like therapy, like therapeutic, though, because, as musicians, that's how we express ourselves. If we're not doing it musically, we're doing it in notebooks and
yeah,
journals. I've got a big plastic bin full of notebooks from, you know, starting back in like 97, where I was just
wow.
writing songs. Some of them were really terrible, and they never did anything.
Do you read them still, or do you read some of them now, or do you just have them?
Sometimes what I'll do is if I'm having like a little like struggle with writing something or coming up with something, is that I'll go back and I'll kind of just like look through them and I'll read them. And every now and then there'll be like one line that I'm like, oh, that's a really good line. I should use
Yeah,
that one. And then what I'll do is I'll take that line and I'll write it in like my current notebook. And I've actually got a few songs that way. So I feel like
oh,
sometimes it's
oh,
worth it to kind of go back and revisit old stuff, because even if it's just a line, like even if it's just one line
yeah, yeah,
or a song title, I've actually written songs before that had a song title, but I liked the title a lot, but I didn't like the song. So I just
yeah.
reuse the song title, but then write a whole new song with it, and then, but I don't put them all out. I just put the one out that I liked, the one later.
Yeah, and I think like because Josefina writes mainly the lyrics for all of our songs,
Hmm.
and I know she's been through like a lot of tough periods in her life, and you could also see that on the lyrics, I think, on the Roots album.
Drink soil from the trees till you get high as the sun. Get down on your knees, your time has come. Oh, show me the way and what path I should choose, for I just can't wait till I get back to you. When my blood boils hot, then it's time to go. And the roots I control, they are one with my soul.
Because they are pretty dark, some of the songs, and I think it's kind of like beautiful to share your thoughts in a way, even though some thoughts will always be like hidden in a diary or something in a drawer. But it's really beautiful to be able to be that strong and share the things. So when I do my solo stuff, that's how I just started to do the songs. I just needed to be brave, I think,
Mhm.
to do something by myself, to not hide behind a band or something.
That's the hardest thing, especially if you're used to being in a band where all of a sudden you are the the primary focus, where you're like the singer and the guitar player and whatnot. And your solo stuff is great. I love it.
Oh, thanks, man.
Among thorns and songs, voices come, witches chants in tongue, nature becomes their band. In the moonlight shines, they sing the Asian song with open
Felt like the last few releases I heard you do, like they got more confident sounding,
Yeah.
as you got used to it though. But do you like that feeling of feeling like you can kind of step out a little on your own and do these things that maybe Children of the Sun, like it wouldn't work?
Like I always want to play with children. They're my favorite children. So, I hope that we will stick together when we're 70, still name Children of the Sun, being like old guys. But for me, like the main thing with releasing songs by myself, I think not only because I want to be more brave, putting out music and and sing. I want to sing something. And probably has been the most terrifying part of it. But I think like the main thing is that I want to release more music. It's not enough. It's not enough, releasing an album. And, and so this year is really crazy, So Children released our album now, and Nephila will release our album, and The Dead and Living, which I'm also part of, is releasing a new EP album. So
Your goth band, that's right.
yeah, and on top of that, I want to do my solo thing because every week where we release music, there's like a ton of talking to people, emailing out stuff. So in a way, like it's like a birthday every month when we release music. So I actually want to keep going and never stop because there are so many songs that they need to be written in a way, and like what should I do with my time if I didn't do music? I'm not sure. Rob banks or something?
You'd be making better money.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, terrible bank robber.
And I have to say, I think I've told you this before, but what I think is so fucking great is that you went from like really sweet looking hippie people to looking like Midsummer, where like you would stuff me in a bear and light me on fire, And I was like, it's a good thing I know these people because
I actually have a Midsummer tattoo. Yeah, I have the bear and the house.
so now do I need to be a little nervous about coming to visit you?
Yeah, for sure. With with your age and the Ättestupa. No, but like for that is probably my favorite movie of all time. The Midsummer movie.
It's got seriously one of the greatest endings of a movie. It is so I've never been so creeped out by just a face. Like how she goes from
And
crying,
how it moves.
like it just changed. Oh yeah, it's creepy.
Yeah, and like the flowers are breathing in her costume, and
Hmm.
and the cape is breathing. I think like Ari Aster, who made the movie, is probably like the best director or in the world probably right now. Have you seen Beau is Afraid? It's one of his.
No.
Oh, it's fantastic. Joaquin Phoenix playing the lead. It's like a fever dream. I've become such a movie geek in like on old days but I really enjoy like watching a really good movie. I'm not a huge fan of like series, but movies, I really love them.
This album does seem to have a little more. It's almost like it's a little more thematic. I don't know. Like the songwriting is significantly different, like in a good way, like in a very good way, actually. Because, and again, like in the sense that it's not the same. Like you've made
Yeah.
three completely different records with the same band, and that's pretty rare. And but I did notice that the songs are a little more theme based, almost kind of like I can create a narrative on it.
Under your skin, I can feel your love so kind. Come, lovely eyes will seem
Does that come
Yeah.
from the watching a lot of movies and stuff like that?
Like watching a movie, I made it sound like that's a unique thought to be watching a lot of movies. Like, but yeah, for me, probably because I like really love, Danny Elfman, Hans Zimmer, all
Hmm.
of those famous new composers in music, and it's just something about, trying to find something more. It doesn't need to be like so because if you like compare it to the Flowers album, which has a lot of parts, a lot of like a change in measurements and tempo changes.
Hmm.
With with the Living Ground with the End album, I think that it's a pretty like easy musically album to play as
Hmm.
well, because the focus has changed in a way. It's more of a focus on doing like a beautiful song, like really focusing on get Josefina's vocals to really stand out and let her do her thing.
Hmm.
Because I think it's for me, I want it to be like really easy to play so I can enjoy playing live. I
Right.
don't standing there like having to shred or something. I just want to enjoy the thing, enjoy the ride,
Right.
watch people having fun. I want to be part of it. I want to like jump down from stage and dance with the audience. And I won't be able to do that if I'm shredding or if we were doing these crazy, measurement things.
Hmm.
And I think that, you know, some of the inspiration for this album has been like pretty, you know, still the 60s rock bands like almost like Creedence Clearwater Revival and of course like Alice Cooper, probably from the like 75-ish era when Welcome
Hmm.
to My Night was released, and those kind of like epic but still kind of small or not so huge produced albums.
Right. Right.
You know, I would really love to make a Bed Out of Hell album one day to do.
Like a concept record.
Yeah, concept record. And I think that we always talk about doing a concept record. And for like Living Ground with the End, maybe is like one kind of concept album, but I want to do it like full on with, doing a musical about it and releasing a book and releasing a computer game and, really do something more than just release an album. So we talked a lot about it in the beginning when doing this record to do something more. So when we recorded the album, we saw that we have a lot of songs that won't be able to fit into the album. So we actually recorded two albums when making the Living Ground Reach the End. So we have like an another album ready to be released in a way.
Uh-huh.
It's needs to be polished, like to mix and masters. But
Right.
we have another album, and I think, eh, you know, it's been such a creative thing to, we have, like, when we recorded both Roots and Flowers, it was a lot about, doing the stuff in the studio, like book a studio session
Mhm.
and,
Yeah.
having finished songs before even starting to record. We have these like songs ready, and demos were way too produced in a way, I think.
Mhm.
But before leaving Ground at the end, it was just much more loose in a way. So everyone could like do their own kind of thing on it, and it wouldn't like destroy something about the vision that we had from the beginning. So
Right.
it just feels like we have grown in a way, as always. So yeah, I'm really proud of it.
I mean, like I said, there's definitely been a significant growth. But the other thing I actually noticed on this album too is that there seems to be more different influences also that I can hear that I didn't necessarily hear on the other two. Like I heard some Pink Floyd in there, like in
Oh yeah.
in Lilium, and like just
So
but then
yeah.
you also have like, Come With Us, which is very kind of like Come With Us could have been on Flowers.
The feeling is strong. Whoa, we're facing the sun, and I know that it's alright. We get what we want, and that's no lie. Come with
It's that very kind
Yeah,
of bouncy, kind of like dancing, kind of fun song. But then you get like Lovely Eyes, and then that arrangement of Whole Lot of Love. Like that was fantastic because I feel like when bands do a cover song, I hate it because they try to do it exactly like how it's originally done. And I'm like, if I wanted to hear it like that, I'd hear Led Zeppelin's version,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But you guys took it and kind of did your own arrangement on that. So like, how did that come around to do that? And why Whole Lot of Love of all the songs?
Yeah, and we've gotten so much critique about it as well.
Was it good critique?
It's a bit of both, you could say.
you need cooling, baby. I'm not fooling. I'm gonna send ya back to schooling, way down inside. Honey, you need it. I'm gonna give you my love. I'm gonna give you my love. What a whole lot of love. What a whole lot of love. What a whole lot of love. You've been
But and I guess in a way that was the kind of idea with the song to like make people, being a band that we have always tried to to like be a kind of a psychedelic 70s rock band, but
Mhm.
with this album we don't want to be just like a genre based band doing this 70s rock music. We want to be
Right.
like a modern band in a way, still having the influences from the 60s and
Mhm.
70s, but we have to do our own thing and to get the new audience to listen to it. So in a way, we're like bringing the heritage from those albums from the 70s and 60s, but we have to make something new, uh, in a way, for us and for our audience. And I think that Whole Lotta Love, there are maybe Smoke on the Water would have been like the other song to be forbidden to do a cover of in a way. But people will react and people say we slaughtered it, and I really liked it. And people have been doing covers of it all the time. Like Hoshier did a fantastic cover of Whole Lotta Love. Probably we're more influenced by that that one than the original song.
I was just gonna say it sounded more similar to the Hoshia version than the Led Zeppelin version, which is also great though because like I don't want to hear note for note cover and play it the same exact way because then it's like, are you trying to compare yourself? Whereas like for this, like I got the impression, like I'll listen to it, I'm like, is this a really good song? But it was interpreted in the way that you wanted to do that. So that made me like it more.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, but, and if people get mad, like fine. I probably I'm more happy if people react to it than just being like, yeah, it's a good song. It should be like either they love or they hate it, because I'm tired of being like so Swedish about things. It's something between happy and sad. It's always like in the middle, or lagomt, as we call it here in Sweden. We have a word for it. It's lagom, and it's between good and bad. It's just in the middle of it, and we use it all the time. And I want to be more extreme, like you guys. You're so extreme all the time.
Yeah.
I want to do stuff that outrage people or make them really happy. I don't want to make them like kind of happy or kind of mad. I I want people to react, and if the reaction to the cover is like getting mad and thinking that we slaughtered the song, like fine, that's good. They felt something, and that is what it's all about in a way.
I mean, but they also listened to it enough and because you have to listen to a whole song before you
Yeah.
can really form any kind of an opinion on it. So that meant someone or that all of these people got through at least half of it and then made this judgment call. I'm one of those few musicians that like I like bad reviews.
Yeah.
To me, that means somebody listened and somebody was like, "Yeah, I didn't love that," And so I appreciate that as much as I appreciate a good review sometimes.
Yeah, and I really fear getting bad reviews, but I really get it, and I feel the same. I want people to like be really upset about something, like I like how did Kiss do in the beginning? People must have think they were crazy. We're so kind and Swedish here, and but I think we've gotten like one really bad review one time. Got a 2 out of a 5 star, and the journalist like thought that we were like like a fake 70s hippie thing. Like it was too bad of clothing, too bad songs. We're trying to be something that we were not, and that and the review at the time really made me sad because it was like a gig on a festival here in Sweden, and we were really happy about being able to play this show. And I think I was really sad about it, but then I was like, fuck it, because it's good if people read it and think, oh, these people trying to be something they're not, and we were trying to be something we probably weren't. But with this new album, I think we've found like a way between, being able to do these more theatrical things, like with the artwork and stuff, and still be the guys that we are. Like we are a pretty like chill people in person, and I think it's nice to finally have like a good balance between it. We don't have to try to be something. We are the same, but we can still do the fun things that we like.
It's like you have to start somewhere though. And so even if you start like a band, like you said, like with Children of the Sun when you started, if you're trying to kind of emulate a style or a certain bands or whatever, like that's usually a starting point for you. But then if you're really good musicians and you're really good songwriters, as you get older physically, like you grow up in age and then you're
Yeah.
playing a lot more shows, you're being around people, you're experiencing things, then of course your songwriting should grow, you know? And that's why with this album, it sounds so much more like mature and like there's, like I said, the themes of the songs, not quite as dark as Roots,
Yeah.
but definitely seems like it's got some wisdom to it that you've acquired as you've gotten older as a band.
Yeah, I guess so. And we recorded the album in Vilma's old family house in the middle of the woods. And like the song Glasskogen, which is the area around the house. And we had like a lot of time to really to to get to know each other outside of the music because we always been playing music together, but we almost never had the time to because everybody's doing their own things in between, studying to become opera singer or a doctor or working with like yeah everything. And
Standing in the face of the starlighter. I'm drowning in the middle of the street. In the middle of the street. My feet float, my legs sleep. I'm drowning in the middle of the street. In the middle of the street. My feet float.
I think like being able to be in this old house in the woods, having to like cook the food together, and I've never felt so insecure as this time where I was supposed to make the rice, to cook the rice, and that was like a really hard thing for me to do because I got really like insecure about myself. How do you even cook rice? And I've cooked rice like hundreds of time by myself, but because I felt like if I destroy this rice, we won't be able to eat tonight, and we won't be able to make a record because everybody will be mad on me for destroying the food. While when we play, I feel like really secure about myself, and
Yeah.
being able to like give critique and get critique for how we play or how the sound is or how the song is shaping up.
Hmm.
But all the other things like outside of playing together were really hard to do, and it was really fun to like. I remember when we recorded the keys for Sugar Shape of a Gun,
Hmm.
and me and Vilma were upstairs by her old room, and we
Hmm.
did the keys, and I ran down to like film some stuff behind the scenes, and so we recorded the keys whilst I'm running down, and Johan and our producer Emil Drugge from Spiral Skies, they were watching the television, watching football. So it gave us a huge opportunity to do everything around the music, and I think you can hear not maybe hear the rice cooking on the album, but you can definitely feel like we didn't feel the pressure of being in a studio, having to make everything on time. We just could enjoy the things we enjoy and walk around the house and have a really good time, I think.
Well, that I definitely could hear that it was a look because y- there's this ability to hear things like when you can hear a band or a musician of any kind who's working against the clock.
Yeah.
Like there's this kind of sense of not rush, but like not moving too fast, but that it doesn't sound as relaxed or like that, you could take a breath.
Yeah.
And I did notice even with Sugar, Shape of a Gun is like much of a rocker as that is, it seems to have a little more air to it. Like you're not trying to box it in and then
Yeah, for
get out,
sure.
like everything just sounds like you took your time doing it and leaving your previous label and then doing all of this on your own. Like I know that that's a whole level of stress because now you've got to fucking do everything on your own. But does this reflect that if that makes sense? Like did going at this on your
Yeah,
own make this experience a little better
yeah,
for you?
sure. Yeah, because we always talk about like the growth of us as a band and as people. And I think that everything happens for like a reason or
Hmm.
something. Like we grow together, we know each other. We have known each other since we were kids now.
Hmm.
And it's really cool to have this thing together. And I'm so sure that if we wouldn't have a band and all of our people, they are so like they are really good at what they do, and I'm sure that they would have made great careers in whatever they want or
Hmm.
choose to be. So it's like a huge honor to be able to have this band, and I think that we will like stick together for a long time. And so so in a way, I'm so grateful for having this, and I'm grateful for making music, and I think that you don't like I don't want to waste any time. I want to release an album every year or two albums every year because you
Hmm.
never know how long you have something. You never know what's gonna happen, or so to be able to have this right now, I'm sure that when if a day comes when we're not the same people, or when we don't have this, I'm sure that I will miss it so much and grieve it for like the rest of my days. So
I've been working on the same album for like 4 years now,
yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
but it's been an incredible experience for me because I learned a lot. I did everything on my own, like instruments and everything. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, this was cool, but like I want to be putting out music more frequently because
yeah. You just released it, I think.
it does no good just sitting in my room,
Yeah,
like or sitting in a notebook. Like if it's not out, people aren't going to ever hear it. So it's like, not everything has to be a huge production, which is what I loved about your solo stuff because you get the big production in Children of the Sun and then your solo stuff is very like, you know, like stripped down.
yeah. It's like me and the guitar for the most of the times, and I love choir singing from myself. Try to keep it really simple, but it always ends up being like these huge projects in my DAW when I record it in Logic Pro. But yeah, it's really so like healthy, I think, to have that mindset to like be able to just know when to release something. I think it's Nick Anderson from Helicopters who said like it's rock and roll. So when he got the question about like how do you know when it's finished? Because yeah, it's just rock and roll. Mm, Like it doesn't matter what genre or anything. It's just release it, I think.
I mean, you can overthink things and overdo things, or you can go with your gut and release something very sparse and very true and very honest.
Yeah, before you get tired of it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Yes, exactly. Because then,
Yeah,
like, I already don't know how to play the first three songs I recorded for this album because it was so long ago, and now I'm having to go through and relearn them and listen to them. And,
but have you gotten tired of them, or have you gotten tired of the songs, or
you know, I think the reason why I haven't got tired of them is because I haven't performed them live yet.
yeah,
And I think because I'm real happy with the songs that I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I can't wait to play these in front of people, which is probably what goes through. Because I mean, you guys rehearsed demoed, recorded, and then recorded, and then got it down, right? And so,
Yeah.
but now you get to go play those songs in front of people. So are they exciting again to you?
Oh yeah, because or actually, it was kind of a fast process to rehearse the album.
Mm-hmm.
We did like a couple of days only where we sat down and re learned the songs that we've made and finished the songs mostly. And then we took like a couple of months, I believe, of not studying the music that we've made or something. Just let the music be. And when we start to record, I actually remember when I was like when we set up the drums and mic'd everything, and I was like, oh man, I'm not sure I know the songs. I haven't played them since we made them. But I kind of feel like it was such a calmness for everybody. Like
Mm-hmm.
we don't have any like stress about. We have the whole week to record this album,
And
and
yeah.
yeah, I think that it's probably that's the thing about it for me, because when we rehearsed it, I thought it was really fun to play the songs, and when we recorded it, I thought it was really really fun to record for the first time ever. Probably it was the first time that I didn't feel like insecure or nervous because
Mm-hmm.
we weren't in a studio environment. And then now when we're playing live, it's like the best thing ever because oh man, this is how the songs went. Like I'm relearning, as you said about your songs. I'm relearning the songs
Mm-hmm.
and get to get the vibe and feel and with the songs that I really love about the album, I really love to play them as well because that was like the thing about doing the songs. We wanted to do songs that was as fun playing as hearing them for the audience.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing is that you have to like what you're playing in
Yeah.
order for the audience, because it doesn't matter what kind of audience you have. People can tell when you're not connected, when there's like, like when you're not digging what you're doing. It comes across. And, that's why I think that, when so many different, like your strength as a live band together is that you're friends, and it shows on stage because you connect with each other, you like each other, you're having fun with each other, and the music
Yeah.
is still played seriously in a way that, you know what I mean? Like it's played professionally, but
Yeah.
but the fun aspect comes through. And so, when you're getting to play these songs live, you're
Yeah.
experiencing them a completely different way.
Yeah, yeah, really. And we fight together and we cry and we are mad and sad and happy
Mhm.
together. And I think that like all of these stuff is what makes a band. And tr having to we struggle a lot with like trying to make money to be able to play music.
Mhm.
Everybody has their extra jobs or their studies and stuff. So no, it's a lot of struggles to just be able to do the thing that we really love to do.
Right, right.
And I probably work more like on the Chin on the Sun things that I do on my real work. you know so or because that's the thing. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do if it weren't to make music, because that's the only thing that it's what it's all about in the end, I think. And I think that like with the new albums and the new records that will come, that it's like that's what I will leave when I'm gone. That's when I want to like show people that I made albums. I have the LP and
Yeah.
to be able to spread that and to live forever.
It's a legacy. It's a legacy of music, right? Like,
Uh,
you want to, I mean, it's like if you're not here anymore, like that's like you said, that's what people are gonna know you by. So like if I never knew Jacob, and you passed away, but I discovered the Children of the Sun albums or whatever, then I would be like, oh, I understand what he was about, and that's a cool thing because that's kind of what we want, right? We want to be remembered for what we could contribute to music because that's all we know how to do. I'm not an inventor. Like I can't make a cool invention that everyone will remember before, but I wouldn't mind being remembered as a guy who had some pretty good songs, or made a good album, and so that's a big deal.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. And like, and regardless if there's any people listening when I'm gone, but if there's one person who has my record and listen to it and likes it or hates it for doing the Whole Lotta Love cover, doesn't matter. Like, I just want people to know that I have existed and I did something with my time, with my, like, because we don't have much time, and I want something out of it.
Actually, to be honest, dude, that was actually very inspiring to hear that, and I loved hearing that, But
I'm not sure how we like ended up talking just about death in this episode, but
hey,
yeah,
you know what? This is what I like about doing this because it can go, wherever your mind is, whatever you're thinking about. Like I like that's why I like doing interviews with people because I like them to just be conversations and that was where your mind was and that's where you were thinking about these things and I actually think that to be honest, when I hear people like talking about like what you did, it makes me want to go listen because I want to hear like, okay, so what is it that this guy wants me to hear after he's dead? Or maybe before he's dead would be nice, you know what I mean? But like, what is this music, that's
yeah,
so important to them, and I think it's cool because there's this balance of being egotistical, but also being proud of what you do. And and
yeah,
that's definitely who you are, is a very you're a proud papa to your music, which you should be, and I think that's great.
yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's really nice to hear.
Well, so I guess to wind things up, man, you guys got some shows coming up, right? Like what's going on with some show? Are you're doing a small tour, actually?
And then we do some shows in Sweden, like Stockholm, Gothenburg, and some shows between. And then we have the summer coming up when we have started to book the summer. We have some UK dates coming up, yeah, at the Dartmouth Festival and it's our first time in the UK. So I'm really nervous about, because they're not in is like before they left the, what do you call it, EU, the Brexit thing. Yeah, yeah. So, we have to get our visum, and we're playing in Germany again. I really love playing in Germany. They're so kind to us, and I hope to be able to play in Denmark again. I really love playing in Denmark. It's not so far from home. You can drive there, and same with Germany. It's really amazing to play. But Spain has been the people who has been like the most kind to us. They like show up. They give us like these coffee shots and how many wines and tapas we want, and they're such inviting people. I
Hmm.
believe, or they have been when we are there. And to be able to do a tour again, to live in a van together and playing these shows and knowing that tomorrow is a new show,
Hmm.
because I get so depressed after every gig.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, it's not a show tomorrow. What should I do tomorrow? So it's like playing live. That's what I like. That's the thing. That's what I want to do. And so yeah, Denmark, UK, Germany, and then the summer starts, and we have hopefully some good days there. I know it's a date here in Karlstad where we are.
Hmm.
We're trying to, yeah, a support slot that it's secret. I think
Hmm.
still secret, but I think it's like, I hope it's done. But like it's like a show that we've wanted to do for so long now since we
Mhm.
started probably. So I hope that we will be able to like support the band or to play
Mhm.
with more bands. We've met so many fun people the past years, and it's really fun to have those meetings and you know find out how they do when when they fight and when they
Mhm.
write songs and share your thoughts with them and they could share their wisdom with us. So it's fun to meet other bands.
Well, Jacob, I'm so glad we finally got to do this and talk about Children of the Sun and your progress and your processes. And yeah, dude, as long as I've known you, like I still feel like I learned new stuff, which is exciting, man. And I love that. But dude, so like Leaving Ground, Greet the End is fantastic. It's a great album. You guys did so good with it. I'm so proud of you. And I hope you guys get some good shows this summer, and I'll make sure everyone that I know is going to hear it. I'm just going to force it in their face.
Yeah, that's
Listen
good.
to this album, you know? So, well, thanks again, man, for doing this, dude. You're the best, man.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's really really fun to try to talk English.